John, do you remember I was telling you about that audiobook and I was telling you about how trash it was and I was like, there's an hour and a half left and it
Yeah.
might, like, maybe it gets good. Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
was completely wrong. It's utter fucking garbage. It gets so much worse. Like, so John, this is literally it, right?
All right.
So do you know how I told you, like, he had a fight with a guy and he loses?
Start from the beginning. I wanna hear the whole
Right.
story.
Right, okay. So, like, the start of the book, it intros with, like, this guy, so it starts with the future, right?
Mhm.
Like, a future scene in the book, and then it makes it out like he dies there,
Mm.
and then he wakes up from, like, the VR, and then, this is, like, the
Is-
only, like,
is it-
cool,
is it-
interesting part of the
Is
book.
it like a sort of a nightmare scene where he like has a nightmare about him dying and he sort of wakes up from it?
No, it's like a VR thing, but like it's done really oddly. Like the way how it's done is like it's point like there's no reason to have it, and then it just immediately cuts into him like removing the VR goggles, and that So this is where the only cool part of the book comes in, where the it's like the future, and the Earth's fucked, so people have to like live in like bubbles and stuff, and he's 21 on the day, and that's basically like his allotted time's up, so he has to like he's gonna get executed because like people aren't allowed to like have kids. There's like a quota.
Without permission.
Yeah.
So it's like China.
So he was allowed like an allotted time period to stay alive for.
Hmm.
And the only purpose this thing holds is to oppress all characters in a common way. That's literally the only reason that it's there for. But it's the only cool part of the book.
So all the main characters are like running out of their allotted time.
Well, all the people who are from the other world that go to this world go there because their time ran out.
Their time is out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So because
basically,
they're
so
getting executed, their consciousness gets stored in a VR world.
Yeah, basically, like the option is, oh, you die, or we put your conscious in a VR, and you can like help out future generations by making this world a better place, or whatever. That's the concept, and then it goes into the new world or whatever, and then there was some alright bits at the beginning. And I was like, oh, maybe this is gonna be bad, and then you meet like the intro town. You speak to this guy. And then he tells you about the main threat of the world, which is the Goblin King, the Goblin King sent some monsters after him or whatever. And like every single chapter after the first one says before it past. And I was like, okay, they're really like hammering this in. There has to be a reason why they did this whole past thing. So I was like trying to think of like every single chapter. I was like, what's gonna happen? Why was this? So that first chapter was like a big battle with like the main villain.
Mm-hmm.
So the main character is just fucking stupid, just dumb, and then gets to the point where he has to like try and rally people to kill the Goblin King because for some reason he's like, yeah, everyone here is just a pussy, and they're all bitches, and we need to kill the Goblin King. So he decides, to prove it. Evidently he needs to go kill some goblins, and then that will make everyone believe that they can all kill goblins. So he goes and does that, comes back, and everyone's like, yeah, we're now behind you. And then the people he like are his party were like, yeah, that basically didn't happen because of you. We've been going around telling everyone like the stuff we've done beforehand, so now they have like slightly more faith in you. And then so he rallies all these people to go defend this village or whatever from the Goblin King. Bearing in mind he has no information about the Goblin King. So he's like, oh, how is the Goblin King's a tamer? He got that information. So he got the Goblin King's class, supposed class anyway. Yeah. There's no real reason why it had to be this class. So, and there's no real reason for this information to be reliable.
One thing we kind of glossed over is the fact that it's a game world, yes?
Yeah, it's
so everyone has classes and all that kind of shit. Yeah. And
of course, the main character was given. Yeah, so of course the main character was given like this super OP class, that for some reason these people that have apparently been there for like months beforehand, he catches up to them within like 3 days. You know,
What the fuck?
this is complete like nullifies all other classes.
Cool.
Because he's a nerd. Apparently, he likes fantasy lore.
He hacks into the game.
Basically, that is basically what happens during his character creation. He refuses 2
So
classes,
dumb.
and the game's like, "Oh, you're having trouble picking a class? We're gonna do a little quiz for you to help you pick a class." And then he gets every single question right, and he unlocks like a special secret like admin class or whatever.
That's so dumb.
He goes to fight the Goblin King, right? But on the basis that he knows he's a tamer, and he thinks that he's the tamer class that controls there's like the sub-specs or whatever. He thinks it's the one that controls a lot of minions at once because of the amount of goblins he has. Bearing in mind, there's multiple points throughout the books where like goblins are explained to him, and they're like, yeah, goblins have like usually like goblins can control a single goblin like moves in like a pack of like 20, and there's like 1 leader per pack. But for some reason he just forgets all that, and it's like, yep, he's got this many, so therefore he has to be like crazy into this instead of just the other one that controls like a few, but like gives out orders. So he rallies all these people based on a bunch of assumptions to go kill the Goblin King. It all goes to shit. People die. He loses the fight, and a character has to like sacrifice themselves to save him. Right, and this is where I left off and told John. I was like, maybe it gets better in like last 10 minutes of like last hour and a half of the book. So John, after he gets his shit wrecked,
Yeah.
by the Goblin King, and like a bunch of people have died, what do you think happens then?
Training montage.
No, he goes
No,
to the
he's-
tree and kills him.
Immediately is like, let's go to his main fortress. I can do this now.
Oh
Because
god.
for some reason, right, because the guy's a Goblin King, he assumed that he was a goblin, so he got this mantle which is like lets him kill goblins better. When actually the Goblin King's a man.
Oh.
So
I
he's
mean-
like, I have a manslayer thing instead. I can wreck this dude now. And then
Fuck's
they
sake.
just go there and they just win.
That's so dumb.
But
Yeah,
what's the
it-
point? I thought everyone was already dead anyway.
No, like some people died.
No, as in like they're all in that world because they're dead.
Yeah, but their
Yeah, but
consciousness
they
is
die.
dying
If they
in
die,
the world.
if they die in the game, they die.
So why bother killing anyone? Why not just stay in the fucking fuck? Why are they giving them classes?
I don't know.
Dude, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make sense. Like
They
really
get put
doesn't.
into a game world because there are a lot of times run out.
So they live
And
in
one of the
future
guys was
because
like,
they're
"Oh, I want to
conscious.
control this world." Became a Goblin King, and became a
Yeah,
bad guy.
He controlled the world, so he could like regulate it basically,
Mm.
and to stop a greater threat, which is the class, like the race that the main guy is, that class race thing or whatever,
Yeah.
is like the actual real threat.
So you
There's
say-
like a clan of them or whatever.
It's the Goblin King Palpatine.
Dude, like, there's this, like, it made no sense to me that all these assumptions were made. And also, like, surely, judging by the Goblin King's supposed goals, he could rally more people to his actual side. And it would have been way better if he just went there, got his shit kicked in, and was like, I'm not even a tamer, bitch. I've just got someone else doing that for me. That would make so much more sense.
That would have been.
And there's also-
yeah.
There's 0 character development, so you give no fucks about any of them. That character who dies, the dialogue with him is so trash, and like there's no reason to even like him. And he even betrayed the people, like the main characters, for no apparent real
It's his
reason. And then
redemption.
that's basically what it. It's dumb.
Good shit.